You ever come home from a long day, just ready to breathe for a second, maybe crack open a cold beer and enjoy something you worked hard for, and instead, you find it ripped apart right in front of you? That was me, a Tuesday afternoon in July, standing in front of what used to be my brand new driveway. Still smelled like fresh concrete the day before, smooth as glass. I'd even taken a picture of it. But when I pulled in that day, it was gone. Just a mess of broken chunks, dust flying, and three guys with jackhammers acting like they were saving the world. And there she was, Marlene Hensley, president of the neighborhood HOA, full-time control freak, part-time tyrant. Standing there with her floppy straw hat and clipboard like she was about to host a garden party instead of supervising a demolition. She gave me that polite little smile that people wear when they know they're about to ruin your day. "Oh, Connor," she said, her voice sweet and sharp all at once. "You knew you had to wait for final approval before paving. We had no choice but to correct it." I blinked, trying to process what I was hearing. "Final approval? I submitted everything 6 weeks ago. You signed off on it yourself." She tilted her head like she was explaining something to a toddler. "That wasn't final, dear. The committee didn't reach consensus." "There is no committee," I said, raising my voice a little. "It's you and two people who do whatever you tell them to do." She chuckled, like this was all amusing. "We just have to maintain community standards. You understand." Then she turned to the workers and said, "Make sure the debris is cleared before 5. We can't have a mess." And that's when it hit me. This wasn't about some rule. This was payback. See, a few months earlier, I'd voted against Marlene's motion to ban overnight parking on our street. I said people have guests, kids come home late, and we're not living in a military base. She didn't like that. From that moment on, I was a problem resident. Now she had her revenge, hiding it behind HOA rules. I felt my hands shaking, not from fear, but from this deep, quiet anger. I said, "Marlene, you just destroyed private property. You know that, right?" She didn't flinch. "You'll thank us when it's redone properly." That was it for me. I went inside, grabbed my phone, and pulled up the digital folder with everything. Emails, signed forms, her signature, timestamps, even footage from my doorbell camera showing her handing me the approval in person. I came back out and showed her the screen. "You sure you want to stick with that story?" I asked. For the first time, she hesitated. Just a second, but I caught it. Then she put on that fake smile again. "Well, we'll sort it out in the next board meeting," she said, turning to leave. "Yeah," I muttered, "we'll sort it out, all right." That night, I filed a police report. My neighbor, Tom, retired firefighter, no-nonsense kind of guy, had seen the whole thing and agreed to give a statement. My cousin Rachel, who's an attorney specializing in property law, said I had an open and shut case of unauthorized destruction of property. By the time I went to bed, I had the city's code enforcement copied on every email. 2 days later, Officer Delaney from the city showed up. She was tall, sharp-eyed, and didn't waste words. She crouched near the cracked remains of my driveway, ran a gloved hand over the rubble, and said, "They didn't pull a single permit for this." "Nope," I said, "but they pulled my patience." She smirked a little. "They used heavy machinery without protective barriers. That's criminal mischief, possibly felony vandalism, depending on cost." When she said felony, I swear I saw Marlene's name flash in my head like a neon sign. That night, news spread faster than wildfire. Neighbors started showing up, one after another, telling stories. A woman down the block said her mailbox was replaced without her consent. Another guy said his shed was removed because it was aesthetic clutter. Turns out, Marlene had been terrorizing the neighborhood for years, hiding behind the HOA rulebook like it was a shield. And something about seeing everyone standing around that mess, shaking their heads, it lit something in me. I wasn't just mad for me anymore. I was mad for all of us. So I went further. I pulled all the HOA financial reports, the minutes from every meeting, every decision she'd made without a vote. Rachel helped me piece together a paper trail so clean, even the IRS would have been impressed. What we found: she'd used HOA funds to pay for my driveway demolition. No documentation, no authorization, nothing. Just a check labeled landscape adjustment. That was the moment the story flipped. City officials stepped in, code enforcement issued citations, and the local news caught wind of it. One afternoon, I saw a crew filming in front of my house, the anchor saying something like, A local HOA president accused of overreach after ordering demolition of a resident's driveway. Marlene came out of her house that same day, acting all calm, pretending it was a misunderstanding. I just waved at the camera crew and said, "She'll have plenty of time to explain that to the city attorney." By the time the dust settled, the police had opened a full investigation. Her little empire started to crumble, board members resigning, neighbors uniting, the perfect picture of power finally cracking. And me? I learned something that week. People think HOA disputes are about grass length or paint color. They're not. They're about control. About one person convincing everyone else they have to play along. But here's the thing. Control only works when people are scared to fight back. I wasn't. I remember standing on that same ruined driveway, watching the sunset bleed across the sky, thinking, you picked the wrong guy this time, Marlene. What happened next? Let's just say that by the end of it, the HOA was paying triple for what they did, and I got a driveway so perfect it could have been in a commercial. But that's a story for another day. So here's my question for you. If someone in your neighborhood, your workplace, or your life tried to use power to humiliate you, would you fight back, or would you let it slide? Tell me in the comments what you'd do, because sometimes standing up isn't just about winning. It's about reminding people they can't bulldoze their way through your life.